Good morning. I'm going to go through the homework that I assigned to you for Friday. There was quite a bit of it, so this might take some time. Okay, so question 8, we've got a triangle with two parallel lines. One is the base and another is a line through it. And they've told us not the values of AD and DB, but their proportion. So AD to DB, when I divide one by the other, it gives me 2 to 1, 2:1 ratio. So this is a third of the width of this. And AE is 14 centimeters, this distance here, and we want to find EC. So let's call that X. And what we've said is that we can write it either way round. We can do 1 over 2 or 2 over 1. And we can do x over 14 or 14 over x. We get the same answer regardless of which way we do it. We'll just use it the way that they have it here, and we'll say 2 over 1 is the same as 14 over x. And so when we cross multiply, 2x is equal to 14, which means x is 7. So, sorry, I said a third, it's a half. So this is half as long as this, and this must be half as long as this, 7 centimeters. If you did that in your head, kind of going, oh yeah, that's half as long, so this must be half as long, that would be fine as well. But this is how you would show the working out if it doesn't work out as a whole number. Right, in this question here, xq to qz is 5 to 3. And py we're told is 4 centimeters. So we want to find px, which I'm going to call x, like that. So again, it doesn't matter which way around we do it, so long as we match. So if we've done top over bottom here, we must do top over bottom here. That means that 5 over 3 is the same as x over 4. And I can cross multiply and get that 3x is equal to 20 and x is 20 over 3 centimeters. Don't forget your units. And you can just leave it like that. You could change it to 6 2/3 or 6.67 to 2 decimal places, but it's fine to just leave it as 20 over 3. Okay, the next one then, we have similar triangles. So the first thing they ask us to do is explain why those triangles are similar, and they are similar because all 3 of their angles are the same. So all 3 angles, they're all marked in there. It's a little dot for that one. All 3 angles are the same. So whenever I see similar triangles, before I do anything else, I like to highlight their corresponding sides because sometimes they're rotated. So these sides correspond. And when I'm setting up my fractions later, that's what I'll be using. And these sides correspond down here. And I just leave the third one blank. So I've kind of highlighted the ones that correspond. Which side of the triangle DEF corresponds to the side AC? So it's the one that I've left blank. So DF corresponds to AC. And find the values of x and y. So we don't know this length and we don't know this length. Let's start with x, okay? So x over 6, the blue over blue, will be equal to the red over red. X over 6 is 8 over 3.5. And it's fine that we've got a decimal in that because we have fractions. So x over 6 is equal to 8 over 3.5. And then I cross multiply. 3.5x is equal to 48. And x is 48 divided by 3.5. 48 divided by 3.5, which gives me 96 over 7. And just leave it as a fraction like that. 96 over 7. Yeah, it didn't say to a number of decimal places or anything like that. So x is 96 over 7. If you want to change it to a decimal, it's going to be 13.71. Y over 4 is equal to, it doesn't matter which sides we pick, I'll pick the 8 and the 3.5 again, because I don't want to deal with fractions. So y over 4 is equal to 8 over 3.5. And I cross multiply 5y is equal to, 3.5y, I don't know why I wrote down what I did there. So 3.5y is equal to 4 by 8, which is 32. And y is 32 divided by 3.5, which is 64 over 7. And we'll just leave it like that, 64 over 7 centimetres. Again, if you want to, you can change that to 2 decimal places. And to 2 decimal places, it would be 9.14 centimetres. Okay, next question then. The two triangles here are similar, so we can see those angles there are the same and these angles here are the same. And let's mark in our corresponding sides. They're right-angled triangles, so we have a hypotenuse, 7.5. I'm just going to write that that's 7.5. It's a little bit easier to work with decimals when we're writing it into the calculator. And these sides correspond as well. And I'll leave the third side blank. Copy and complete this statement. Each side of the bigger triangle is something times the length of the corresponding side of the smaller triangle. So we need to do a bit of calculation. How many times bigger are each of these sides? Well, we only have one that has two numbers, so we'll use the hypotenuse to answer this question. So the bigger triangle over the smaller triangle is going to be in this proportion, 7.5 divided by 5. So the bigger triangle is 7.5 divided by 5. It's 1.5 times bigger, 1.5 times bigger. (1.5 times bigger), and that's what we would fill in there, 1.5. And then they ask us to find the values of x and y. So let me just get some paper to do this calculation. So finding the values of x and y, part 2. I'm going to use my 7.5 over 5 is equal to x over 4. And I cross multiply. Now there's other ways of doing this as well. You could use the 1.5. You could say, oh, it's 4 by 1.5. Okay, but this is the way we're used to doing it, and sometimes it's just easier to keep with the same method so that we don't make any mistakes. So 5x is equal to 4 by 7.5, which is 30, and x is 30 divided by 5, which is 6 centimetres. Are they centimetres? They didn't actually give us any units, so just 6. Okay, x is equal to 6. And for y, same calculation, 7.5 over 5 is equal to y over 3. So 5y is equal to 3 times 7.5, which is 22.5. And y is equal to 22.5 divided by 5, which is 4.5. Y is equal to 4.5. And this is 1.5 times bigger than 3, and 6 is 1.5 times bigger than 4. So there's two different ways of doing it, but I do recommend we just stick to the method that we're used to. Right, question 12 then. In these triangles, the marked angles are equal. Explain why these two triangles are similar. And this is quite similar. This is nearly identical to the same kind of question that we had in our notes yesterday. So they are similar because all angles in a triangle add to 180 degrees. We'll just learn off this phrase. Therefore, if two angles are the same, the third angle must be the same as well. And so if all three angles are equal, the triangles are similar. Okay, so it's worth learning off that phrase because they're probably going to ask, if they want to ask you why two triangles are similar, they'll mark in two angles and they'll be looking for this answer. Let's highlight our corresponding sides then. So the line joining the two given angles and the line joining the red angle to the empty angle. Let's just mark in those and we'll leave the other one blank so we can see our corresponding sides. Why are we doing this? Maybe you feel like, oh, it's really obvious, but sometimes they actually rotate one of the diagrams. Okay, find the values of x and y, just like we were doing before. So we'll use two sides that we know, and we're going to use the 12 and the 8 because we know the values of that. So for part 2, we start by saying that 12 over 8 is equal to y over 7. Maybe I should have done x first. Anyway, y over 7. So 8y is equal to 7 by 12, 70 plus 14, 84. So y is equal to 84 divided by 8. I'm bad at my 12 times table, so I'm actually just checking that. Divided by 8, which is 10.5, I think. Yeah, 10.5. Y is 10.5. They didn't give us any units, so I can just write down the number. And for x, again, 12 over 8 is equal to x over 6. So 8x is equal to 72, and x is equal to 72 divided by 12, or by 8. I think I know that, yeah, it's 9. So x is equal to 9. Okay, so question 11 and 12 there, very like each other. Trying to stop saying similar. Now, the next questions. Question 13, these triangles are similar. So straight away, we've got one of the cases where they've rotated and we're going to mark in the corresponding angles. So we've got the single line and the double line. Let's highlight that. Those are corresponding sides. And we have the dot and the double line. So these are also corresponding sides. Make sure it's clear. And I'll leave the other one blank. So the blank ones, the dot and the single line, also corresponding. So they've asked us which side of the triangle XYZ corresponds to AB. AB. They keep picking the one I don't colour in. So it's XY or YX. And they want us to explain our answer, so we need a little bit more space. XY corresponds to AB because they join the matching angles. Okay, so the line AB joins the single line and the dot, and the line XY joins the single line and the dot as well. Find the values of X and Y. So just like we've done before. So which side has numbers, has two numbers? The red sides, those red sides there. And we'll do the bigger one over the smaller one. It doesn't really matter. So for part 2 here, I'm going to have 15 over 10. 15 over 10 is equal to, and we want to find x, so x over 6. X over 6. Cross multiply, 10x is equal to 15 by 6, which is 90. And so x is 90 divided by 10, which is 9. Any units? No, they're just numbers. Same thing for y, and again I'm using 15 over 10. So 15 over 10 is, where's y? Y over 9. Cross multiply, 10y is 15 by 9, which is 135, and y is 135 divided by 10, 13.5. Okay, let's look at the next one. Find the value of x and the value of y in these similar triangles. So the first thing we want to do is mark in our corresponding sides, dot to single line, dot to single line. These ones aren't rotated. And single line to empty, single line to empty. So we have our corresponding sides, and the last side is our blank one. It doesn't matter which way round we do this. We can do 8 over 6 or 6 over 8, but we have to go in the same direction for both. So 6 over 8 is equal to x over 6. X over 6. Cross multiply, 8x is equal to 36, and x is equal to 36 divided by 8, which is 4.5. No units, so we don't have to write down any units. For y, again, we're going to use 6 over 8. 6 over 8 is equal to 3 over y. So this was the trick here. In this case, the y wasn't on top, so you're always going in the same direction. Whichever triangle you use on top here, you must use it on top for the second side of your equation. 6y is equal to 24, and y is equal to 4. Okay, now, question 15, a little bit more challenging. In the given triangle, in the given figure here, we have the bases are parallel, and they want us to draw out our triangles in two separate diagrams. So we're going to have the triangle ABC, ABC, with 8 down here and 4 here. And this big triangle, ADE, ADE, and all we know about it is that this side is 7. It's 4 plus 3. Now they've told us that they're similar. When they say explain why they're similar, we know that they should be similar. Why? Okay, remember our parallel lines and transversals give us an F shape. Can you see this upside down F shape here? And in there, that means that these angles are the same value. We're going the opposite direction. We also have an F shape. So these two triangles are equal. So let's mark in the angles here. And we're in part 1, we're explaining why. So the angle ABC is equal to the angle ADE because they are corresponding angles. So our F shape comes from the fact that they are corresponding angles. And just the single word is enough of an explanation. The second thing I said was that this angle down here at E is equal to this angle down here at C. And if you don't like the 3-letter naming, it's okay to say the angle C is equal to the angle E. Either way of naming your angles is okay. And for the same reason, they're corresponding. So therefore, the third angle is equal. As we've discussed previously, but also because it's exactly the same angle. This angle up here is the angle A in both cases, so it must be equal. And the triangle ABC and the triangle ADE are similar. Now find DE. Now they want us to find this distance here, which we're going to call X, so that it looks like what we've done before. And corresponding sides, well, I have them lined up already. This side and this side correspond, and also this side and this side correspond. So I can do my calculation for part 2. The ones with the numbers, 4 over 7 is equal to 8 over x. Cross multiply, 4x is equal to 56, and x is equal to 56 divided by 4, which is 14. That's my answer. So that is the length of the line DE, as they asked for. Okay, now I know that was a lot of practicing the same thing over and over again, but hopefully you're feeling very comfortable with those types of questions, because they are quite a common question to come up. Okay, thank you.